everyone for joining. Thank you, Prateek Prabhu. Thank you, Purvi Mataji. Thank you, Neetu. And thank
Hare
you,
Krishna
Kiran
Mataji.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna. It's, uh, it's wonderful outside. You might have done many things. Thank you for taking your time out and joining the session. Today would be our 12th session. Let me share my screen. On this topic, who is God? Does he care? Why should I care? Before getting into the session, I'll just like to share some details about the video which we saw. We thought it's an auspicious Kartik month and it's auspicious Panchatattva deities. This is from ISKCON of Mayapur. It serves as the headquarters of ISKCON. It is around 130 kilometers from Calcutta. The temple of Vedic planetarium is being built there in Mayapur. You can see that huge deities over there. They are the Panchtattvas. What is that Panchtattva? It's referring to the term Pancha Pancha. What does that Panchtattva means? This Panchatattva is none other than a Lord and their incarnation. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by his planetary expansions. This 5 deities which you saw were Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Prabhu, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, and Srivas Prabhu. So those were the planetary expansions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Sri Krishna himself, who appeared 500 years ago in Navadvip, which is where we have this ISKCON headquarters. Okay, let's proceed with our 12th session. Welcome everyone. Let's begin by offering our prayers. If you want or if you can, please unmute yourself and we will recite ourselves. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shrita Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathatvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishan Kanvitam Sha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratuse Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the mantra which we used to recite before starting our Mahamantra Japa. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. This are the Panchatattva Pranam. We are seeking the blessings from the Panchatattva to be with us during our Japa, and we are seeking for their mercy. Okay, so we are doing the series, Who is God? Does He care? Why should I care? In this today's topic, we are going to see about two things. Does God care? What is the ultimate dharma of human beings? So during our last sessions, we saw the first 6 verses in chapter 4. We're gonna see a most important verse today. So the main question is, we understood who is God, and we want to know, does He care? Yes, He cares. How do we know whether He cares for us or no? He personally gives that I care for us, for you guys. So I personally come. So I'll just bring up this verse. Anybody would like to recite after me? Please recite, or I will send, you guys can follow. Yada yada hi dharmasya
Yada yada hi dharmasya
Glanirbhavati Bharata
Glanirbhavati Bharata
Abhyuttanam Adharmasya
Abhyuttanam Adharmasya
Tadatmanam Shrajamyaham.
Tadatmanam Srijanmaham.
Once again, I will recite the 4 hours, then I would like others to take your turn to recite. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata adbhutyanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrajamyaham. Anybody would like to?
Me, Neetu.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure, Neetu.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham.
Very nice. Thank you.
Should I proceed translation also?
I want someone others to recite, then you can read. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Sure.
Yada yada hi dharmasya Glanirbhavati Bharata Abhyuttanam Adharmasya Tadatmanam Srijanmaham.
Thank you. Anyone else? Kiran, Niba, Purvi, Ram?
I can go next.
Sure.
This is Purvi. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham.
Thank you.
Mataji, I have a question. If you see in Hindi, there is abhyutthanam dharmasya, and if you see in English, abhyutthanam adharmasya. So dharma and adharma, that is both are opposite word, right?
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Here you are saying.
Yeah.
Abhyuttanam. Im is, you will put ma and a line, right? It's ma. Im plus a comes as ma. So in English, when they are ending with m, and the a is with the next word. If you recite together, it is abhyutanam adharmasya.
Okay. Okay.
The Hindi speakers can. I'm saying with my Sanskrit knowledge. I think Sanskrit and Hindi will go together. With respect to that lipi, it's ma. It's always plus a.
But I think as far as I remember in my childhood, it's always like exactly how it's broken in the bottom. Apyuthanam dharmasya. So to answer her question, I think it's always dharmasya. There is no adharmasya. So in
If there is
theory,
dharma is predominant, why should God comes down to? He
Oh,
should be
I got
happy
it.
if dharma is there, right?
No,
When
I got it. What's
Mhm.
ma is broken in a, and what you said?
It's m plus a equal to ma.
Okay, and plus a. Okay, okay,
You
sure.
can search like all the words like the ka from ka to the ya, alava, that letter, everything is with the ik plus a ka. Ik plus a is ka, like that. So if it is like this, then it is m. So aham, it is ended. But if you notice this one and here, we see that it is full syllable. It's plus a. Even if you read here, abhyutana madharmasya. Ma.
Yeah, that's why I see both of them, and that's why I asked the question. What is the
Yeah,
correct pronunciation?
pronunciation. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
asking. Anyone else wanna recite? Okay. Anyone wanna read the translation? Or maybe read the word by word, the synonyms. Then we will go with the translation.
Yeah, I can read the synonyms.
Sure.
Yada yada, whenever and wherever, he, certainly, dharmasya, of religion, glanir, discrepancies, bhavati, become manifested, bharata, O descendant of Bharata, abhyutanam, predominance, adharmasya, of religion, tada, at that time, atmanam, self, sujami, manifest, aham, I.
Okay. So whenever
Okay.
and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and the predominant rise of a religion, at that time I descend myself. So here both religious as well as irreligious is given, decline of religion and predominant rise of a religion. Then Krishna appears or descend himself. Pradeep, you wanna read the purport or Neetu, Niba, anybody?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. Whoever is.
yeah. If you want to read, Neetu, or like I can go.
Yeah, you can go. It's okay.
Okay, okay. The word Srijami is significant herein. Srijami cannot be used in the sense of creation because, according to the previous words, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srijami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapara Yuga of the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu in one day of Brahma, he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in many ways at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is predominance of a religion and a disappearance of two religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. My glasses, actually. Can someone continue? Sorry.
Anyone wanna continue?
No, yeah, I found the glasses. 1 second.
Okay.
So where was I? Like, laws of the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord Himself to the Brahma from within His heart. Therefore, the principles of Dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu Shakshad Bhagavat Pranitam. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord. And the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto Him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto Him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendencies still look to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of nonviolence. Therefore, each and every avatara or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission. And they're all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatara unless he is referred to by scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere. And whenever he desires to appear, in each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son, servant, or himself in some disguised form. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 + 2 = 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of 4 orders and the 4 statutes of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest or non-manifest only under different circumstances.
Thank you so much, Pradeep.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So, if we specifically take here, this is the timeline where Krishna appears, and it is already scheduled, and Vedas has this details where particularly, when particularly, what is his body complexion, he will appear. So it says at the end of the Aparayuga, 28th millennium of 7th Manu, in one day of Brahma. But it is not that he has to come only on that time period. He has no obligation to adhere to it. If he wants, he will appear. It's not that I gave you appointment to come at this time. You are here. No, we can't see you, like that. Whenever he wants, he can appear. But wherever he appeared, all those details are described in the Vedas earlier. We had a pretty good discussion of this Kali Yuga, what is this different yugas and what are the days of calculation, everything. Just to recap, Satya Yuga is like, first to start with Kali Yuga, this is of 432,000 years. 2 times of Kali Yuga is Dwapara Yuga. 3 times of Kali Yuga is Treta Yuga. 4 times of Kali Yuga is Satya Yuga. And then we come up with the calculation of what is Mahayuga, what is Manvantara. And in one Manvantara, how many Manus will appear? And we calculated 1 day of Brahma to be 1000 Mahayuga. So 1 day is 1 day and 1 night. So in one lifetime of Brahma, that is this many human years, Krishna appears once. And again, it is not he should appear only one, but it is as per this purport. Srila Prabhupada states that is how generally he is to appear. And in other way, at that end of that Dwapara Yuga and the Kali Yuga is gonna start, obviously they saw all the symptoms of Kali Yuga, and a religion was predominant, and that's where Krishna appeared to bring the religious things back to the form. So, anyone know what is this? Boys will know more than me.
ICC logo.
What does ICC do?
They conduct the World Cups.
They are like, from my perspective, ICC creates rules and regulation for cricket, which is played across the world. Even if that cricket match happens in India or Australia, it's 1 day or test match, what is T20, what else is there in cricket? Whatever it is, maybe if it is between the Indian team themselves, or it's a world team, or this team is going as a tour to other country and playing, whatever it is, the rules and regulation is formulated by ICC. Is that right?
Yes.
If we are not following that, and if we are fighting back with the umpire, say it's not out or it is out, something like that, then that cricketer will be banned. ICC will give punishment not to play next matches. I'm not sure. I watched cricket long back, maybe in 2000s. Then maybe some updated rules might be there. But overall, to say, ICC is responsible for creating rules and regulations. Similarly, the principles of religion are laid down by Vedas. It's like Vedas, okay, but Vedas is huge, right? As far as I know, we know, like 4 Vedas are there, Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharvana, and that Vedas by Shruti and Smriti are there. There are a lot of Upanishad. Which Veda? It is a broad term. Which Veda we should, where it is mentioned? Where are the principles? So let's see that. To get an answer for that, first we should know what is your dharma. Okay, dharma, in English term, if we search for dharma, it refers to the original nature or character of something or someone. We can easily understand that all things have their natural characteristics which cannot be changed. So it's something that cannot be separated from you and you are bound with it. And that defines you is called dharma. It is little confusing, isn't it? When I read that English meaning, I was little confused. Anyone say what it is? If you are seeing my screen.
Sugar cubes.
Sugar cubes. What is the dharma of sugar cube?
Being sweet.
Sweet. Yeah. If you are touching it and licking it, and if it is sweet, then you are like deciding by yourself, oh, it should be sugar, right? If you see this picture, what is it? See, I don't want to confuse you, so I put a name itself in it.
So it's the
Salt.
perspective, right? You see it, it's white.
Yeah,
But
it's
then
white.
when you taste
So
it,
if you
it's
say like both are in the same table or like in a
correct.
cup, someone is giving you like it's whitish, same crystal. Hey, can you
Mhm.
tell me what it is? So how will you tell it? They both look crystallic, right? If you
By
touch
tasting.
it, licking it, you will know, oh, this is salty. So you are, as soon as you are feeling that it is salty, you are saying, yeah, it is salt. Or sweetie, that is the dharma, right? The moment sugar is no longer sweet, then it cannot be called as sugar. But it may be white, looking very much like sugar as the salt. It's the crystallic white color, but it has a different taste. So we are like, it is not sugar, maybe it is salt or something else. So if we take any object, it has a particular characteristic, and that particular unchangeable characteristic is called its dharma. So from this, we know what is dharma. That is the unchangeable characteristic of oneself or something. Anyone want to give it a try? What is the dharma for us in general? Being a man, woman, or girl, or boy, what is the dharma for a human being? I gave you an easy way to figure out how to differentiate sugar and salt based on the dharmic characteristic. Any guess? Any, anything is not right or anything is not wrong? We can give it a try.
Be good.
Being human.
Okay. What is that human?
Human being, so being human. Yeah, that can be defined anything. So
Okay. Anyone else?
should follow the scriptures. Thing.
No, the scriptures agree totally.
Yeah.
Anyone? Ram, Purvi, Niba, Kiran, Ram Gopal. Anyone want to give a try? What is the dharma of human being? Yes, I can see Ram is unmuting himself. Yeah. I couldn't hear you. I can't hear you, Ram. But you are unmute, but I couldn't hear you. Yeah. Ram is saying to do his duty, whatever the task or job may be. Yep, perfect. That is a dharma of a human being. I agree. Okay.
And since one other thing
So,
I had is like, since in this universe the human creation is much far ahead than the other living things, so maybe we should take care of all other living beings.
that's also sound right. See, as I said, there is no wrong answer. We are getting to know our dharma from different perspective. So everybody might have all of it or few of it, but we know, right? We have the characteristics of it. We find that human beings have a natural character which is common to all human beings, right? By nature, everyone has a propensity to love and serve. Is it right? Either we love our parents or better half, our kids, We love our pet animals. If someone is having a pet dog, they will love the dog to the core. And as soon as we are loving someone, we will be like bound to serve. It is not like we are as a servant serving them. Say, if you love your parent, you will take care of them. If they are sick, you will take them to the hospital. Similarly, if you love your kids, you will take care of them, drop them in school, pick them up. Ram is having a question. A butcher job is to kill animals for food, but is that okay as per Vedas? We will come to that point, Ram, in a few minutes. So the common nature or characteristic of a human is to love and serve. Therefore, service is the common and universal dharma of all human beings, either service to family, as we discussed, or community, nation, or one own self. Dharma is thus known to be something common and universal to all living entities. Say if like someone is worshipping some specific god and our parents or spouse or like wife or husband don't like it. Similarly, as Ram asked, like we are killing cow, goat, fish, name it, whatever it is. I used to make fun of with my friends, like name it, whatever it's flying or swimming or walking, other than aeroplane or the bus, the transport, or a ship, we will eat anything and everything, right? If I ask what is your menu, list out a lot. So is that a dharma? Because my parents are cooking that item for me and I'm eating. If I say no, then it would be my parents will feel bad. Or I'm worshipping Krishna and my parents are not in line with me. They are saying like no. And if I continue to worship, they are feeling bad and sad. So the Putra Dharma is to be good with or good for my parents. The Pati Dharma, Patni Dharma is to be good with the spouses. And the Yuga Dharma, what Krishna is saying, is for the whole world. So what should I do? Which dharma should I follow? Should I follow the Putra Dharma or Pati Dharma or Patni Dharma or the Yuga Dharma? It's like Krishna is saying, even Jesus Christ is saying, like, thou shall not kill. Krishna is saying, don't kill. As Pradeep said, we should take care of other living entities. But are we taking care of other living entities? We are taking over advantage and we are killing them without their permission. And this is also an argument like God created the other living entities for us to eat. So what's wrong in it? So there is a lot of dharma and Veda says differently. I'm getting confused. Which dharma to follow? So in this confusion, then we can conclude we should follow what God says. Whatever God says is the toppest dharma. Next comes all other dharma like Manusmriti or Putra Dharma, Pati Dharma, whatever it is. Okay, what does Krishna says? Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matak smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. Translation: I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance and knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of all the Vedas. So if we take the verse, here Krishna is telling what is Dharma. We take, therefore, the principle of Dharma or religion are the direct orders of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. This verse comes from the 6th canto, 3rd chapter, 19th verse, where the Yamatudas are having a discussion. Yamatudas and Vishnutudas are having a discussion. The story is of Ajamila. Ajamila is a Brahmana. Then he falls down by a lusty desire with a prostitute. So he stopped uttering God's name and he did all sinful activities. When the time of death comes, there were 4 Yamadudas. They were coming to take his soul out of his body, and he got so scared by looking at the very demonic appearance of the Yamadudas. Out of love, the Ajamila's last kid name is Narayan. He just called out for Narayan. Narayan, help me. His intention is not to call the Supreme Lord Narayan, but he called his kid Narayan. But anyway, he uttered the name of Narayan. So the Vishnutudas came to save Ajamil from Yamatudas. So the Yamatudas and the Vishnutudas will be having a discussion that Vishnutudas says, like, you should not take him because he uttered the name of Narayan once. So all his sins are disappeared. Yamatudas will be quite confused. We thought Yama is the god of death and he laid out the rules, which is good and bad. And is there someone superior to him? Who are these folks to stop us from doing our prescribed duties? So they will go back to Lord Yama and ask, like, hey, can you tell me, is there someone superior to you? At that time, this was the discussion happened. And real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although fully situated in the mode of goodness, even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planet cannot ascertain the real religious principle, nor can the demigods or leaders of Siddhaloka or anyone else. So here they are telling the Vedas are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is clearly says that Vedas, as we discussed, is a very vast term. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what is that dharma we need to follow? So the purpose of the Vedas is to establish the principles under the order of Supreme Lord. So if we go back, that's what Krishna is saying. So the 5 basic truths about religion or dharma are summarized in the perennial teaching of Bhagavad Gita. They are Ishvara, its English term is God or the controller, Jivatma, the spirit soul, Prakriti, the material nature, Kala, the time factor, and Karma, reaction to good and bad deeds. Of these, the first 4 are eternal principle, Ishvara, Jivatma, Prakriti, Kala, and the 5th one, Karma, is temporary. So in Bhagavad Gita, he is saying, what is the dharma one should follow? So he is saying that the bottom line of all the principles are clearly indicated in Bhagavad Gita as Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. He is, the Supreme Lord is present in everyone's heart. So what is the best dharma we should follow is whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So King Parikshit, when he left with 7 days to die, he asked this question, what is the best thing for a human being to do at this time? When he knows, like, it's only 7 days left out for me, what should I do now? What is the best thing I should do before I die? But he is in a way lucky. He knows that and he has 7 days. So whatever the highest principle, he can do it in 7 days. But if we think about us, we don't know the day or minute or moment when we will die. So we cannot get prepared that, okay, in next 5 minutes, I will die. Let me do that highest principle. If for King Parikshit, the rishis gave like, you should listen and hear. So he spent the whole 7 days in listening to Krishna Kathas. He is like full of immersely with Krishna stories and he followed the highest principle. If we take ourselves, we should be always prepared because we don't know that moment when we will die. So I would like to share one example. Like my colleague, she is from my own state. She didn't come to office for past 10-15 days. It's like I want to wish her like happy Diwali, but I saw she is offline for a long, and I had it in my mind that what happened. It's like, okay, let her come back, I can ask. Then my boss stated that her father passed away. If you want to like ask, say your condolences, you can message. I don't want to message to her phone or call her. I felt little odd, like what will I ask, how to ask. I felt little hesitant to message to the personal number. Then she joined last week back. I was asking her what happened. Is your dad sick? What happened? Or like corona, as it is relevant nowadays. So she told like my dad is the best person. Like he is fit body wise. He don't have any sort of disease. I hardly remember my dad fall sick even from my childhood. I was like, okay. So that health issues, her father passed away due to health issues is ruled out. Then I questioned like any accidents or is it due to corona, whatever, what is it? She was telling as it was raining, they put like the rainwater collector sump and he just lifted that sump. It was around 20-25 kg iron. At the time he felt a pain. So he just put that sump back and went in and my colleague massaged him with a pain bomb, it seems. After that, they went and attended a marriage. There was this Navaratri festival was gonna happen. They celebrated that. They went to temple, and then another third day or fourth day, he was very normal and chatting with his grandson and granddaughters. And when they are in abroad, they were talking at the time. Her mother called. See, your dad fell down. He was talking, and then iPad. He just fell down, and she did CPR and called out for ambulance and they took him in friend's car and the doctor said if you 5 minutes before if you are here he would have been saved. It's sort of a cardiac arrest. I think it is because of that other day he lifted the sump, right? It made some issues in his heart. It's like best fit guy and he is an example for all others in the family to be like how to maintain, how to do exercise. He never falls sick and this also nobody will think or imagine like just by lifting a sump he will die. If that like and that day if he feels like so much pain they would have taken him to the hospital, but after that 4 days he was walking doing all things without any issues. But it's fraction of second, not even 5-10 minutes. He was talking and the next second maybe he just slept and that's it. He was gone. So why I stated this incident is we don't know when we will die. So we need to better prepare and focus on the higher principle or higher standard which needs to be followed. So Krishna again states this verse, this is 18.66. Krishna started with answering all the questions of Arjuna one by one. And then he summarizes everything in 18th chapter. And then he is telling, okay, he understood. Arjuna is confused. So Krishna talks from all the 17th chapter. He summarizes everything in the 18th chapter. And in the 18th chapter, he summarizes in this one verse. So, okay, you got confused, okay? This is one thing, right? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Whatever I stated so far, if you are confused, you don't know what you need to do, just follow this. You abandon all other dharma, all other religious thing, just surrender unto me. But we just read in the previous slide, right? Follow whatever God says. That is the dharma. And now Krishna is saying, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So which one should we follow? Anyone is having this question? When I put together this slide, I was like confused. When I was reading Bhagavad Gita, I was confused. Like, should I follow the dharma or no? Anyone else with me? Or if I only have that question, I will proceed further. If anyone else is having the question, we can discuss about it. No?
You can't surrender to God without without following proper guidelines as set in the Shastras and like Vedas. I think so. I don't know.
You are telling me to follow or no? If you are telling me to follow the
Oh no,
dharma,
I'm
then
saying
why Krishna is
no. I'm
saying
saying
abandon
like
everything?
no, I'm saying to surrender to God. I think we should follow. Otherwise, there's no. Otherwise, you can't surrender to God like without. I don't know what's surrendering to God. Like yeah.
Okay, that is an understanding problem. You don't know what does surrender mean. But my question is, if you follow, if you are saying like, if you follow, then only I can surrender, then Krishna would have told, right, follow whatever I told. By that way, you will surrender to me. But he's telling, abandon everything and then surrender to me. So following dharma and the surrender is two different things, right? Or is it one and the same? Or I'm confused.
No, I think what he told in the second point is correct. Like just surrendering into God, you don't need to follow anything else. I changed my mind actually. So,
Okay, but
so
here we
just
saw that, right? In this
but
here.
yeah, just to surrender 100% into the God, it's not an easy thing. It will come with proper discipline and like thinking about God, only thinking about God, and having to think.
Mhm.
It's like leaving everything to God. It's all God's will. Like everything, yeah, or like it's like a proper discipline. Like so, for that, I think all other things will help.
Okay, so I can say like everybody can't surrender. So Krishna is telling, okay, if you can't surrender fully, then follow this. Or I am getting a question, or we are in a dilemma that should I follow or no, just surrender. The same, we will have this dilemma in our practical life also. Like, should I do this or no? Like that example I told, you're worshipping Krishna and your parents are, I'm sorry, your parents are telling, no, I don't like you. Should I worship or should I leave? As Ram asked, Vedas are telling to kill or don't kill. So Jesus Christ is telling like, though kill, not, I forgot that, don't kill or don't do non-violence. But everybody is eating meat. So is that we are following the Vedas or we are acting on our own? What is that? Similarly, Arjuna had this dilemma also. Should I follow the Kula Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, or should I go ahead and fight? This happened like in the first chapter, he got confused. There was like 5-6 reasons Arjuna gave to Krishna not to fight. And he wanted to retire and go to forest and even beg and become a sannyas. He don't want to fight. He stated this Kula Dharma, as per Kula Dharma, I shouldn't, as per Kshatriya Dharma, or which one should he was confused. What should I do? So if someone is not happy with the spiritual thing, what we are trying to do, so we should take, we also will be confused is which dharma should we follow. If we take that if some lower dharma is obstructing us to follow the higher dharma, then we should abandon the lower one. Higher is to follow or surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever the orders given from Krishna is the highest. All other things are the lowest. But I can say, like, don't be fanatic or hypocrite and follower. Like, if you're any of your family members are saying for this, especially for this, I'm saying, like, oh, all of a sudden you started worshipping Krishna, and all of a sudden you are saying, like, I need to offer ghee lamp. We never did this. Then don't be fanatic, like, no, this is this auspicious month, I want to do it. If you don't want, I won't talk with you, and create a fight. And don't make yourself bad before others' eyes. Our nature is love and serve. We don't want to behave like a very bad people and to give a bad impression as such. Hey, this guy, he started following Krishna and he is behaving weirdly, and that your wife or your mother will discuss with all their relatives, and it would become like, if someone is worshipping Krishna and they will behave like very weird things. This is just for this example I'm saying. You can do it slowly, you can try to convince them, bring them also to show the lamp, educate them. You got an opportunity to get to understand, they might not got that, so you can try to convince them. It's not, you don't show that hard and fast, do it or leave my home, do it or I won't talk with you. No, do it slowly. So again, don't be fanatic. But other than that, like eating meat, you are saying, like, I don't want to eat meat, and your parents are saying, no, we are eating. You don't want to say to them, like, no, I just started following it, I'm stopping it. You can say that philosophical points, but more than philosophical points, you can say them slightly, like, see, I felt very bad. I People used to make fun, like, overnight you got that intelligence or knowledge, as like Buddha got Jnanodaya under the tree, which tree you sat and you got the Jnanodaya. But you can try to explain them and convince them. In that case, I should follow the Putra Dharma. So my mom is asking me to eat meat. My wife is asking to eat meat. Or I'm going to buy this because of Pati Dharma, or Patni Dharma, or for Putrika, this thing. Then you should follow that. Krishna says, don't kill. So you can explain them and you can try to tell them we don't want to eat it. And this slaughtering, the karma or sin will go for 6 people. It's like whoever take the cow or goat to kill it, whoever kill it, whoever cooks it, whoever serve it, even if you pay for it, and whoever eat it. So it will go for 6% the sin. You should think that whether should I be knowingly do that sin, or I can just stop that. So in the purport, we saw all of a sudden Buddha's detail were discussed. It is quoted in between, right? There should be a reason for why Srila Prabhupada quoting about Buddha in between. Is it relevant here? Obviously, Krishna is the source of everything, and from him comes Vishnu, and from Vishnu comes different avatars. Here, the main purpose of Buddha, the incarnation of Buddha, is to stop nonsense killing of animals or stop violence. If you can't control, he is telling, okay, with the regulation, you can offer it, the animals, to the deities and eat it on certain days. Then also, like in few Vedas, they will mention that to Kali you can offer, to some other deities you can offer animal sacrifice. But it was like people got too much of their sense gratification. They started killing on a daily basis. Then Buddha wants to appear to stop this killing animals. So he followed non-violence. He spreaded the words of non-violence in a way that if you follow Vedas and accordingly, you should follow that regulation also. But you are not following what is mentioned and you are doing on your own. If in the name of Vedas, you are killing animals, then stop following the Vedas, stop killing animals. Practice non-violence. A love of God. A love is the one which needs to be there. Again, Buddha also spread the message of love and serve. In the way, don't kill animals. Usually, when someone wants to tell you something, if you are doing anything wrong, they can't tell you directly. Like, if I can say, like, hey Pradeep, you are doing this, this is wrong, stop doing it. Pradeep will get angry on me, like, how can this person can tell me this to my face, she telling like that, and you will reiterate in your mind, you will get the hatred on me and you will stop listening to me, and whatever you told, I told you, that will become bad for you. So usually this won't happen like us, because like I am some stranger telling to Pradeep, even if your own parents, your own spouse or brother telling to your face that this is wrong, you'll get so mad at them. Similarly, in our scripture, if we take, Narada Muni used to tell or preach by allegorical stories. It's Prachina Barhi is one of the amazing details or the story given in Bhagavatam. It's Narada Muni will explain everything by allegorical story. With that story, we will make other person to understand, oh, I am also doing like this, so I am also should stop doing that. So this is not good for me, in the way that you yourself will understand whatever I'm doing is wrong. So to your question, Ram, the Vedas is saying, what is a butcher job is to kill animal for food, but is that okay? No, it is not okay. As per Vedas, as I said, Vedas are giving us a concession or recommendation. Which one we are taking? What is that concession or recommendation? We will see it here. So the concession, the definition, if we take the concession, a thing that is granted, especially in response to demand, that is concession. But recommendation is a suggestion as to the best course of action. What is the difference? That's we discuss, like if someone is so mad in eating, if I know a few of my friends, they won't eat one time food without having non-veg. So if we say like non-vegetarian or killing that animal is bad, they will just stop associating, like, no, I don't, oh, Veda's telling that I should stop, I don't want to follow Veda, I am an atheist. They are so much under the sense gratification that they want to do it. But according to Vedas, if we follow Krishna's command, killing is bad. As I said, if you kill an animal, the sin, 6% hold that sin. Wherever you fall into, I'm just taking the cow, I'm just buying it. And nowadays there is like halal food, right? It is, we prayed already and you won't get the sin. Right? That is one excuse, like, I'm buying this halal meat, so this is already purified, so I can eat that. If we take and understand what is that definition without using any other religious name, just with what is that, in some religion they will do this. While doing that, when praying to that animal, the animal should be alive and healthy at the time of the person butcher slaughtering it, and they will drain out all the blood from the carcass. During the process, a person will recite some mantra, which is called tasmiya or shahada. It is that the mantra will be like, for my urge, I'm killing you. I'm giving you the permission to you. You can kill me in my next life. So we are giving the permission to the animal. Next life, due to the bad karma, I will appear as if I appear like an animal, you are free to kill me. We discussed earlier about the Brahmana and the cow story in our session. It's like, if I want to say that in short, a cow would be running or trying to escape herself from a butcher, and there would be a Brahmana, as Brahmana's dharma is to tell the truth. So cow would went inside and hide behind a house. The butcher will come and ask the Brahmana, hey, where is the cow? So this guy, the Brahmana, would be thinking, so being a Brahmana, I should tell the truth. That is my dharma. So he will say that. He won't say, he will just show his hand towards that side. The butcher went and killed the cow. In the next life, the Brahmana again reborn as a Brahmana because of his other Brahmanical qualities. The butcher was born as a husband, and this butcher's, the husband's wife, is the cow. So the Brahmana was walking to a village and he would take shelter in this house for one night. And this cow remembers, like, cow in the form of a wife will come and ask to the Brahmana, come, let's have some fun. And this Brahmana, like, oh my God, I will tell to your husband. He will knock and went inside. And this lady will kill that husband and give the knife to the Brahmana. And she will scream, help, 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 this guy is behaving bad. And everybody would come and see, oh my God, this guy killed, and he will be having the knife in his left hand. The villagers would cut his Brahmana's left hand. The Brahmana would come underneath the tree and he will be like crying, like, what I did wrong. If we take it from this birth, it's like, what, the Brahmana didn't do anything wrong. But if we relate it to the karmic thing, in the past Jarma, Brahmana showed this left hand to show that cow is there. For that punishment, he got it in the next birth. His hand was cut. The hand which showed the cow, that got cut. And if you see the first Janma, the butcher killed the cow. In this next one, the cow in the form of a wife killed the butcher in the form of a husband. So the karma will repeat, even though if you are saying like this is sanctified, this is they are purified it. If we know what is the meaning of purification or what they are saying in the form of purifying the meat before we eat, we won't be eating that. If we take it in another way, how many minutes we will eat? Maybe 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes. I used to make fun, like only Indians will cook longer and longer just to eat for 5-10 minutes. Because my boss, he used to say like 5-10 minutes to make a sandwich and his lunch is over. We used to cook and elaborately 1 hour, 1.5 hour. Maybe if you check your wife what she's doing, she will be cooking for long hours. If we take how many minutes we are eating, most of the time, the lunch hours we will be walking and eating, right? Even if weekend, if you family lunchtime, 5-10 minutes max, and this taste will be till here, right? Here to here. The tongue till we swallow is where we feel the taste. After it crosses the throat, we won't feel anything, whatever we eat, even if it is sweet, salty, or bitter, whatever it is, still here. So to satisfy this much taste bud, we are doing, or we are killing an animal. This is not good as per the Vedas. So we are here to see what is concession and recommendation. Is if we say 2-person, I can name like say Sam. We already have Ram, so I will use another name. Maybe Sam and John. John used to smoke 40 cigarettes per day, and the Sam used to smoke 5 cigarettes per day. Both of them are visiting a doctor. So to John, who is smoking 40 cigarettes, the doctor asked about all the details, the health details. He checked, he said, okay, 40 cigarettes you are smoking per day. I would ask you to smoke 5 cigarettes. I'm not saying you to stop, reduce a bit. From 40, reduce it to 5. So John is like, 5, okay, that's good, I can do it. So he went outside. The next patient came, he said, I used to smoke 5 per day. The doctor asked all the question, diagnosed everything, and he said, from 5, you can smoke 1 or 0. I strongly recommend you stop smoking. If you have that urge, then 1 per day would do. So the Sam went out. John and Sam were discussing. John is saying, doctor is so good, doctor. He's so generous. He asked me to drink 5 cigarettes per smoke 5 cigarettes per day. And Sam is telling, oh, really? This guy is bad. He asked me to stop it. So we can see the difference. For John's case, it's 40 to 5. The doctor is giving a concession. If I ask him to stop it, this guy will run away. He can't do it, or he will get into something else. We cannot stop anything at the first moment. We need to reduce it. So John got the concession, but Sam, he got the recommendation that stop it. That would be good for you. So we are here at the last point. So the conclusion of today's session is happiness and peace will only come if you follow your dharma honestly. So what is the dharma? That is the highest order from a Supreme Personality of Godhead. If all other lower dharma stops you to follow your higher dharma, then follow the highest dharma, because in the hierarchy, the lowest or highest, which is the better, we will follow the highest. So in terms of dealing with your family, don't be fanatic. Try to be as much as polite and humble. And I can say, like, if someone sees you and you're changing behavior, and they should feel happy that, oh, this guy is following and this, and he is very good. I also want to try it. So they should have a sense that if we follow this, if we chant this holy name of Krishna, if we chant Mahamantra, if we follow ISKCON, then we will have a positive change in ourselves. That is what expected from everyone. If you are start behaving very rudely and fanatically, and you are showing a bad example, that worshipping Krishna means people will become rude. That is not our human dharma. The human nature or characteristic or dharma of a human being is to love and serve. So whom are we loving and serving? That definitely matters. We should love and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any questions? So in this purport point, we all discussed it in different slides with respect to why we discussed already in the first 6 verses. Who is God? Here, does he care? Yes, he cares. That's why he appears and he gives us the dharma. And he comes as an incarnation to show us and to instruct us what needs to be done. And he is giving us the highest principle needs to be followed. And if you are confused with that, if you are having a dilemma, he's telling, just abandon everything, just surrender unto me. That is enough. By that way, you will reach me. I'm sorry, I spoke non-stop. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Or if you have any questions regarding like whatever we discussed in the terms of concession or recommendation or fanaticism, anything we can discuss. Okay, there is no question. Thank you for joining. We'll end our discussion here. Today is auspicious day, Gopashtami. So, we discussed about what is Gopashtami last week. Thank you everyone for joining. Haribol, happy Sunday and have a wonderful weekdays.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.